How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Sunday podcast, Scales and Tales, episode 192. If you are a new listener here, welcome to everybody's favorite Sunday podcast. You guys already knew that. Joined by a guy in Minnesota. I actually saw him a couple weeks ago. Actually, he lost his phone a couple weeks ago. I think he's recording, or I think he's on his computer today, or maybe his iPad or something. But Isaac, I hope you got a new phone since last. Okay, good, good. He has a new phone, everybody,
It
so
always
we're
took
good.
me 7 days.
Oh, Connor came up to me and he was like, I think Isaac lost his phone in the lake. And I was like, why do you say that? He's like, he FaceTimed me off his grandpa's iPad or something along those lines. And I was like, oh my gosh,
It was
what a legend.
it was bad.
Oh man. We're joined by Isaac in Minnesota. What is it? MW underscore swimbaiter on Instagram.
Yeah, it's MW swim baits. I live in Wisconsin.
Oh, you live in Wisconsin. Oh.
Yeah, so like I live right across the border from Minnesota, like right there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Dude, I always thought you were
I
in.
fish.
Yeah, I always thought you were in, or I always thought you were in Minnesota. That just always made sense to me to assume that.
No, yeah, I fish 90% of the time in Minnesota,
Okay.
but I do live in Wisconsin.
Okay. Okay. So joining me in my neighboring state of Wisconsin, shock to me. So dude, Wisconsin, you guys probably are having like the same weather we are right now. I will ask you, has it been super windy? Like usually we get all our wind in April, and
Uh,
it seems like we've just been getting all our wind in June this year.
it's been pretty windy. It just rains every day. Like this is such a weird year for us. I've never seen like in all my years of fishing, I've never seen like this much rain consistently.
Yeah, dude, and I don't know what it is, but every time I go to Minnesota, well, two out of the three times I've gone to Minnesota, it rains. So it happens, I guess, for whatever reason. We haven't,
Yeah.
excuse me, we haven't gotten too much rain here, thankfully, but it's just every day it seems like it's like 12-mile-an-hour winds with like 20-mile-an-hour gusts. Like it is kind of gotten stupid. I never remember a year this windy. Like there's really no calm days, it seems like.
Yeah, and especially like because you live near Lake Michigan, it's
Yeah.
just got to amplify that even more.
Yeah, yeah, dude, it's silly to say the least. But Isaac, we have to get the icebreakers out of the way. I know you, you know me, but maybe the people don't know who you are. So we're getting ready. We're going fishing. We're crossing over the Wisconsin-Minnesota border tomorrow because this is a 90% of the times we're going to fish in Minnesota. Outside of me having to buy my Minnesota fishing license, we're gonna stop somewhere in the morning, get some snacks, get some drinks, whatever else we may need for the trip. Where is like where's like the local stop for you and what are we getting? What are you getting while we're there?
Any Quick Trip, that's like the
Yep.
main gas station around here, but Quick Trip is a staple. We're gonna grab a peach monster or an Arizona,
Mm.
and then we're gonna if they have it, the Western omelet like bagel sandwich that they have.
Was that like Chipotle ranch or Chipotle mayo on like an egg and sausage?
No, it's cheese, egg, green peppers, onion, and um maybe bacon every once in a
Okay.
while
Okay.
on
Okay. I
like
can
a
get down with
bagel.
that.
Yeah.
A peach monster. I don't think we've had anybody say that. I think Arizona has been said. What Arizona are you getting? Are you getting like the half and half or like the fruit punch? What's the go-to?
Just the
Okay.
regular one,
Half and half.
half
Okay.
and half.
Okay. I respect that. I haven't had one of those in a very long time. Okay, okay. So do you get anything for like actually being on the water, like a Cliff Bar or anything, or you just that sandwich hold you over through the day?
It depends on how long I'm going, but if I'm going for like the full day, um, some people might disagree with this, but a banana and a bag of jerky.
Okay, okay. I respect that. I respect the banana. Not caring about the curse, the culture curse, and just rocking the banana. Dude, I almost got a thing of bananas for a trip the other day because I was like, oh, banana sounds good. And then I'm like, I was fishing by maybe I was fishing with somebody. I can't remember, but I was just like, I better not. I don't want to get harassed. But I could go for a banana on the water for sure. As long as it's like cold, like the banana's cold. I don't know if I can mess with a warm banana, like just sitting in the bottom of the gun well all
No
day.
warm.
No, no, like sitting in the cooler maybe, or in a bag inside a locker. But warm banana knock me out of that.
No, no warm bananas.
All right, dude. Second question. We're going let's rewind this back. This icebreaker, usually personalized to the guest I have on, if you guys are not familiar. So Isaac being over there in Wisconsin and obviously fishing the winter tournament over there in that town on that river. What's like the one bait you would suggest somebody to fish during that event? Like a tiny clash or like a wade hogs or like what's a bait that you like, I'm going next year. What are you telling me to bring? And why? And why? Like, give me a breakdown on why I should bring it.
If you want to catch fish, like you just want to experience the river in the winter, I would say a mag, but like a 6 inch mag in white. Me personally, I'll force feed them a glide all winter. I don't care how long it takes. It's just more fun. Uh, at first it was the Metro, but then I think I broke like four of the tails on rocks. So it got pretty bad. I still love that bait though. It's so good. Um, but for me recently it's been that 6.5 work from
Mm,
clickbait
yep.
that it swims so good in current and it just does everything.
Mm. Yeah, dude,
So everything that I needed to do.
that WRK is dang good. If you guys listen to that episode with Alec Weaker and I, we went on about the 25-minute tangent about the WRK and why it's a pretty dang good bait. I haven't fished a 6.5 inch one, but I can only imagine what that thing would do in the river. Because I know how those fish are. Not saying that I know how they are in the winter, but you're up that glide path and they're probably going to come up and eat it like nobody's business.
Yeah. I mean the way the river sets up, they're kind of the same
Mm,
as summer.
yeah.
They- They're just in bigger schools.
Mm.
So
Dang, that sounds like a lot of fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. But all right, dude, let's focus on you. We got this whole episode to kind of break down this hybrid fisherman we have here who jumps state lines to go fish wherever the fish are. So when you got into we'll just start. So you're a little bit younger. When did you get into swim baits and how did it happen for you?
so I got into swim baits probably middle of 2019, like the summer, spring summerish. Um, I lived on a lake that's very deep, but it gets stocked with trout every year.
Mm.
And so I saw like the videos like all the Cali dudes catching fish on trout baits. And so I was like, well, I have trout in my lake. Like, why not? It um so I ordered off of Amazon a like a little like I think it was a Savage Gear like trout,
Mm.
like the 5 or 6 inch. And I started fishing that, and that was like my early introduction to swim baits. I never really caught any fish on it because the trout in that lake they set up because it's so deep.
Mm.
They don't like they sit below the thermocline in the summer.
Yeah.
I think, but the bass just I've maybe in the fall, but I've never really seen them eat trout, um, which is unfortunate, but that's how it goes.
Right, right.
So the first bait that I started catching fish on was the Gantrel Junior
Yeah.
shortly after that. And that was like, I got fish to react to it up shallow in the grass, around pads and stuff. And that was like my first like success on a swim bait, I would say. And then after that, it was like, this is all I want to do. Like as soon as I gained confidence in bigger baits up here, I was like, this is so fun. Like this is what I want to throw.
Right. After a while, did you see that Gantrell Jr. like I hate to say it, hate to sound like crazy, but did you notice that Gantrell Jr. was like catching too many fish? Did you feel like you could catch bigger fish if you had a bigger bait at any point in time?
Mm, kind of, but like the lake that I was fishing, it still is, but it's like a stunted lake, I
Mm.
guess I would say. There's not like a ton of big fish in there. Apparently, supposedly along like uh before I started fishing it, there was bigger fish in there, and there used to be, but now it's like you won't catch a fish over like 12 inches if you fished out there all day.
Wow.
And so I moved off of that like shortly after that.
Mm,
Um, Pretty much as soon as I could drive, I would fish anywhere else.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Dang, dude, that's like crazy stunted. That's insane. That's like, I know, I hate to say it, but that's like you start throwing them up on the bank after you catch them type of stunted.
and I didn't really know like why the lake was like that. I like have my theories now,
Mhm.
but like yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. So after that, after you kind of get your driver's license, you can explore a little bit. Were you still fishing that Gantrell Junior a lot, or did you start to maybe buy some other stuff, or kind of how did it play out once you were able to drive and explore a little bit more?
So I guess there's a time between that, and that's the time that I met Connor
Yep.
of Handcrafted Baits. And his so my mom lived on that lake. She still does. And then his cabin is also on that lake.
Mm.
Picture this: the sun rising over the mountains, your line gets tight, and the fight of a lifetime begins. Welcome to Lake Bacharach Lodge, Mexico's premier largemouth bass fishing lodge. Nestled in the heart of the Sierra Madre Mountains, Lake Bacharach Lodge offers world-class fishing, luxury accommodations, first-class hospitality, and expert guides who know where the grandes live. Whether you're chasing giants or kicking back after a day on the water with a frosty, cold, bottomless margarita, we've got you covered. Home to some of the biggest bass in the world, Lake Bacharach is truly an angler's paradise. Don't miss your shot at the bass of a lifetime. Book your trip now at www.lakebacharachlodge.com or call 806-316-8382 today. Lake Bacharach Lodge, truly the best in bass.
If you're listening to this podcast, it's safe to assume you're tossing big baits for trophy bass. You already know that treble hook changes are part of the game, but they don't always have to be a pain in the butt to do. Toit split ring pliers are hands down the easiest way to swap out treble hooks, especially on those beefy swim baits we all love. No more slipping, no more fighting your gear, just smooth, secure hook changes every time. Available in 3 fixed sizes in a full kit with interchangeable jaws that safely open up any size split ring. Toyota doesn't stop there. They offer a full lineup of precision tools designed with anglers in mind, including long and short nose pliers, scissors that cut cleanly on limp braid, and wire forming tools perfect for rigging those soft baits. So up your game with Toy, because when you're chasing giants, every detail matters. Check them out at toyfishing.com and be sure to use code SNT15 for 15% off your order. Again, that's toyfishing.com, TOIT fishing.com. And again, SNT15 for 15% off your order.
So I was out in the little John boat fishing. He lives like on the bay part of the lake. Like there's this little like bay inlet.
Yeah.
So I was in there with the Gantarelle fishing in the summer, and he was outside mowing the lawn. And he saw I like cast it up by his dock, and he like saw the splash and like turned his head really, really fast. Because like nobody fishes big
Yeah.
baits on that lake ever.
Yeah.
So he whipped his head around, he stopped mowing the lawn, and he chatted with me. And then we ended up going fishing the next morning and ended up catching fish, just hanging out, having a great time.
Mm.
So then I figured out about a month later that he made wood baits and like glides and whatever.
Mm.
So I bought a 6-inch shad from him, and that was like the bait that was like, okay, this is like it was choppy.
Yeah.
Fish were eating it. I could go other places, catch fish on it, watch fish behavior. And so that was the bait that was like that took me to like the next level of swim bait fishing, I would say.
Mm.
So after that, him and I would go out every weekend in the mornings, and fish like not necessarily only swim baits. We'd fish like a Ned because
Mhm.
that's like the bait that is really, really good out there. So we just go out fish. So that was probably 2020, 2021 ish. Like in there, we would just fish a
Yeah.
ton. He lives over near Lake Minnetonka. So we go fish the bank of Lake Minnetonka, fish pretty much just all the time.
Yeah.
So that was his bait kind of brought me to like, this is what swim baiting is. Like,
Mm.
Kraft was a step ahead of me in like fishing when
Yeah.
I met him. And so he had a Dobbins at the time, and so then I got a Dobbins later. And so it was just like him and I throughout this like the last like 5 years, 5, 6 years have like progressed like together.
Mhm.
And so that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, that is pretty cool. That's cool that that's how you guys met because that's like, just the odds of him being out there and him like even hearing the splash while he was cutting grass and you even going fishing that day. Like it's pretty funny that how that worked out. And now you guys fish the throwback tournament together, fish together all the time. Like it's kind of cool to
Yeah.
to see that. So after like you got into fishing with him and stuff, is that when you started to venture over to Minnesota a little bit more since that's where he was?
Yeah, that was like my first experience to like bigger lake like bass fishing. I had always fished smaller lakes with like my dad or grandpa or whatever. Um, and so that was like my like first introduction to like Minnesota fishing.
Yeah. Dang, dude,
So
that's a heck of a lake to have introduction to Minnesota fishing out there. I know the musky fishing out there is pretty good and there's pretty big bass and stuff too. So to be able to for that to be the lake that you kind of have your first experience on for Minnesota, that's pretty crazy. Not saying that you may have caught a huge fish or a bunch of fish at the time, but like I'm sure you guys have had some pretty crazy days and experiences out there over the last couple of years.
yeah, every at least before either of us had boats, we'd always fish the. So for people that don't know, Minnesota is season bass fishing, even for catch and release. So we can you can only fish for bass in Minnesota from like the second week in May to the beginning of March.
Which, dude, I think they just passed a law like during the throwback event that like overturned that, which is sick.
Yeah, that's changing. I believe this next year.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. I just saw that as well. If
Right.
it's true, I'm not
Yeah.
sure when it'll actually happen, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Dang. So was there a park out there that you guys would fish out of, or is there a lot of public land around Minnetonka, or kind of like how's it set up?
Minnetonka is uh very little shore access.
That's
There's
what I
like
thought.
a couple marinas that you can fish from shore. And so that's what we would fish. We would fish like boat slips
Mm,
for opener, kind of like stuff like that. And so that was like also my first introduction to like really fishing docks with a
yeah.
glide. So that was also like a super big learning curve for me. But
Right.
yeah,
And like wow, that is crazy. That's interesting to think of. So here you guys are fishing all these dock slips and stuff. You have to wait till the middle of May to do it. So it's funny in Minnesota, I don't know about Wisconsin, but in Minnesota, they have that well, they had have however you want to say it. They had that bass season where you can't fish for bass outside of the season, but they can fish for pike year round even when the season's closed. Here in Michigan, if you get caught fishing for pike when season's closed, like you can get a ticket. It's like similar to the bass fishing in Minnesota. It's flip-flopped. Like the DNR here care about the pike essentially and not the bass, and vice versa in Minnesota, which I think is hilarious. It's like so, in January, February when there's nothing else to do and you have like some rivers open, you can fish for pike. I think it's April 15th. I think or maybe it's February 15th, the pike season closes. So now essentially all we have to fish here is really trout until the ice starts to melt on the lakes, and then you can bass fish. And even then, like you can say you're bass fishing, but if they look and you're fishing a K9, they're like, I think this guy's pike fishing, and you're like, no, dude, I swear I'm fishing for largemouth. That it's just kind of, it's really really interesting on how you gotta how the system's played out here with swim bait fishing in the early seasons like that.
even over here, like until muskie opener happens, even for me, it's like a little risky.
Mm.
Like I'm not gonna go throw my ghost all day
Hmm.
before muskie opener and that's just like you'll get a ticket. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, you're just asking for
So
trouble.
yeah, it's unfortunate, but
The way I always
it
see
is
it,
what
like
it is.
if I can justify, like, hey, dude, look at these pictures I have. I'm intelligent. If I was
Yeah.
fishing for pike, I'd be running like a steel leader, heavy mono. I'm running really small hooks. Look at this tiny reel I'm using. Like, dude, I swear I'm bass fishing. I don't know how to portray that to you, but I am, I swear. And it's just kind of their word versus your word. So that does suck. But anyway, so yeah, opening day rolls around. You guys are fishing these dock slips and whatnot. Did you guys ever get kicked out of these marinas, or are they cool with people fishing? Or I should say, are they cool with like younger people fishing them?
Yeah, they were pretty cool with it. I mean, there's like a fancy restaurant in front of one of them, so we'd kind of avoid that one
Yeah.
specifically, just because like that one people you probably will get
Mm,
yelled at for fishing that one,
right.
but like the ones on either side of it are they're pretty fine with it.
Yeah. Do you remember
Like it's
your
it's a it's like a public boat slip.
oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Do you remember like your guys' like big fish when you were kind of limited to the bank? Like what was like a big fish you guys caught on opener throughout like the summer and you're like, "Wow, that's like one fish I look back on and I'm like, dang, I can't believe we caught that there."
Um, I would say probably the biggest one we ever caught out of that marina, like on opener, was I think around 4.5 pounds. So
So
that
they're not terrible.
like that's
Yeah,
a nice fish. For
right. Did you guys ever have any run-in with muskies up there?
I haven't seen a ton of muskie. I only caught my first muskie last fall.
Mm,
I had never seen one. I don't fish a lot of water that has them,
mm,
so like I don't really have too many run-ins with them.
right.
Um, I know, yeah, Kraft has caught like one or two, but I've only ever caught one.
Mm, yeah.
So
I
I haven't
luckily
had too many
I've never
run-ins
caught
with them.
one. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. It's
I've
like
caught tons of pike, but
yeah, yeah.
never not too.
Right. Dude, we had a day, so we're recording this on Monday. We had a crazy day on Saturday with the pike. We've caught like, I think it was nine, and none of them were under 31 inches. They were all 31 inches and bigger. Like, dude, it was a crazy day.
That's
Crazy day. Dude, I broke one off on the Citizen and then I lost two on the Citizen again. And then I'll be honest, I only landed one and my buddy landed the other eight we caught. And he caught them all on one of those little depths, straight tail minnows on a jig head. He was just like flicking a minnow or whatever you call it. Dude, I don't know how he didn't break
yeah.
off. Fishing like 8 pound line, never broke off on a single one of those pike. I was like, don't even understand. He caught a 40 and it didn't even break him off. I was so pissed. I netted that fish and I'm like, how did the first one I hooked up with the Citizen, how did I break it off? And then how did I miss the other two? Like these are all fish that should just be clobbering this bait. And it was weird. We were fishing like 60 foot of water and they were just chilling in 30 foot and you'd cast to them and they'd follow the bait. And dude, it was absolutely insane. I wish I had done a better job at filming it, but it was a crazy experience to say the least. Like all super, super thick, healthy fish too, which is pretty cool. It's kind of unique to see that many big pike in a lake up by me, I feel like.
Yeah, I have like kind of a saying, but I'll catch a pike if it's over 30
Mm.
because like that's a nice size fish. But like anything under that is like it's like a chance you break it off, and it's yeah.
Yeah, and those little ones thrash around a lot too, like trying to get hooks out and they're thrashing around.
So bad.
I caught when BC Bates was up here a couple like last week, I caught like dude, it had to have been like a 15 or 16 inch pike, like the smallest pike I've caught in a long time on that raid Osakana swimmer. And like it was the back hook was like in the bottom of the bottom lip. And it was just, dude, it sat there and thrashed for like 3 or 4 minutes while I was just holding it like this. It was just thrashing around. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like nightmare fuel right here. Like absolutely absolutely insane. I've ran into a lot of pike this year, which is kind of concerning, but I had never really done it, never really ran into many pike up until this year. So I guess I'm making up for lost time. Being in Wisconsin, do you run into like decent pike, or is it just pretty much largemouth and smallmouth that you're like running into with the swim baits?
Uh, I catch them frequently.
Mm.
Um, my buddy Nolan just caught one that was 40, like last weekend out of a river by us. So that's those are very nice fish.
Dang, out of a river too. I bet you that thing dogged.
Oh yeah. He, he wasn't like fishing a leader or anything, and it T-boned it and got both the hooks outside the mouth and the line like outside. So it didn't break him off, but that was a very good fish. He
Man.
said he said it jumped 3 times like a tarpon,
And
like where they
yo,
jump and like go like that.
yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
He wished he would have gotten a cast to catch because he was on the paddleboard too.
Whoa,
He's just
screw
being towed
that.
around.
Man.
Yeah.
I'm good with all that, dude. No, no, thanks.
Yeah.
But circling back to younger Isaac and Connor fishing on the banks of Minnetonka. So you guys were doing this for a while, and did Connor get a boat first? Did you get a boat first, or kind of how did you guys end up getting off the bank at that time?
Um, he so at first it was paddle boards for us, like back in 21, end of 21, 22. We'd take the paddle boards places and like little lakes and just fish. And then he, I think I got a boat like a month before him.
Mm.
So I got a boat for free from a friend, ended up putting like a deck on it and just a trolling motor. So that got me like out on the water and fishing little lakes. And then more recently, actually it's more like a year after that. So like a year after that, Connor started using his grandpa's old boat, the one that we fished the tournament in. It's like a 16-foot Lund V
Mm.
with a bigger motor on the back. That's 40. So we could actually like that was like we got that boat, started using it, and that was like we started fishing bigger lakes. We went up north, caught, found super clear water smallmouth fisheries. It just gave us so many more options of where to fish, like bigger lakes, take it longer drives.
Yeah.
Um, and that was really good for us because we were able to just go everywhere and find like water that was really good. Because like the one I would say not downside, but like the one harder part about living up here is there is so much water to fish that finding quality lakes that have good largemouth, good smallmouth is pretty difficult.
Mm.
So that's like another thing of where like just finding good bodies of water is really important, at least to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And the hard thing too is like when you have a lot of water to pick and choose from, like we kind of are in the same thing over here. It's okay, you go try this lake, lake whatever, and you have a bad day, maybe catch like two fish. They're okay. They're like 16 inches, but they're built. It's like, okay, how many more times do I come to this lake before I determine like it's either worth it or not worth my time and go explore a new lake? Like just because you show up to this new lake and you catch a 4.5 pounder, you're the one day you're there, like, dude, that could be the biggest fish in the lake. Like, how do I determine when a lake is good and when I just check it off my bucket list? Like, do you go and fish it like 3 to 5 times and like make your assumption from there? Or kind of like, how do you guys break down having so much water out there and like literally just endless amounts of options around you?
Mm, I would say definitely finding like I guess there are 2 times a year that it's like you can get on more consistent fish, and that's like at least for me, it's like early spring through the spring when they're like up shallow and like on docks and whatever. And then like late summer when they're out deep on like the weed edges. Those are like the 2 times where you can kind of figure out what a lake has to offer, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
But you never really know until you fish it probably four to five times.
Hmm. Yeah, and dude, that sucks if you're driving an hour one way and like finally that fifth time, maybe you catch like that fourth or fifth time, like the last time you plan on going up there, you catch like a decent fish. You're like, oh, dude, like maybe I've just been doing it wrong. Like maybe they just started setting up this way and you drag it out for another two trips. Like I definitely understand the pain behind like trying to mark these lakes off a list because it seems like it's a never-ending list and you're getting further and further away and it's like, man, this stuff is adding up in gas like a lot really fast, especially you guys pulling a boat like that. Like it's like, dude, you start to be really selective and you kind of start to disperse how many times you go and fish these lakes throughout a year, or how many times you even go and like explore new lakes that are super far away. It's a pain in the butt, honestly. If you guys only have like four lakes within an hour of you, you might not think you're lucky, but it makes it a little bit easier to decide where you're fishing from time to time on trips, I think.
Yeah. And there another thing that like I have found is like a rotation of lakes, I guess.
Mm,
So like if one lake is really good in the early spring, but then those fish start to die out, but then another lake starts to heat up, and it's like I have like probably 4 or 5 lakes that I hit like one through May and June, the next
yeah.
one through July, and then August, and then after that, pretty much after August, and like even now is I I just want to fish the river. Unfortunately, it's far away, but I just want to like now especially it's like just river.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, when you have that river system in your backyard, it's like when I go out there, it's like I want to do that a lot, but it's also like, well, I know there's like decent fish in a lot of these lakes around here too, but man, it's something that, and I mean, you can relate to. You just said how far, or like it's far away, and it's just such a unique thing that I don't have here, and it doesn't sound like you have really by you either. Like we have rivers and some creeks with smallmouth, but it's not like the Mississippi like they have in Minnesota, where you can go out into pool four or whatever and catch fish out of there, or you can walk out of a park and catch fish from shore, like and like good fish, like 3.5, 4 pound river fish. So 4 pound river smallmouth is gonna dog you because it's a river fish on top of it being 4 pounds. Like that's such a unique thing that I feel like you can only get in so many like water bodies. Plus, it being the Mississippi, like there's so many fish in there from smallmouth, largemouth, walleye, pike, muskie. There's just like everything in there. It's just kind of a very unique biome and experience to fish the Mississippi in Minnesota. Like that's the only places I fished the Mississippi, but it's like, wow, this is like pretty damn fun because it's always different too. Like day to day, it's always changing. Some days they might wanna eat the TK, and then the next day they might want like a little Kai-Tech paddle tail or a worm or something. It's just so unique on how the fishery changes, and then as well as the characteristics. If the water's super high, if it's super low, there's pools under the bridge, there's no pools, there's the island is above water. It's like it's just such a learning curve to figure out like that place in general and just river systems in general. I think it's a lot more fun than lakes in my opinion.
I would have to agree. It's been tough this year because of all the rain. I haven't made too many trips up there just because I get the it is an hour away from my house
Mm,
to actually get to the river.
yeah.
Um, so it's it's I don't know. I've been there once or twice and it's been super high, but then the fish react really good when it's high, and it's like yeah, it's always changing and it's always something new. And so then when I go up there and fish, it's always like not like figuring out a new body of water because I fish it
Right.
really consistently, so I know kind of what's going on. But it's also still like, okay, are they going to be like in this depth of water? Are they going to be this close to the bank? Is it, it makes it fun and challenging. And then on top of that, you're also fishing for river smallmouth, which are just fun in general.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very unique thing. And then some of the lakes over there, like in the Minnesota area, like the Twin Cities, like some of the lakes over there are really, really cool, like that have river systems in the lakes that connect lake to lake, or just, a river system that dumps into it that offers like really the best of both worlds. You can go back in the river system and catch smallmouth, and then go out on the main lake and catch smallmouth or largemouth, or sit in the mouth and catch fish. Like it's something that I I don't want to say it's unique to Minnesota, but I can think of like three or four lakes just in a 50-mile radius of a spot that sets up like that, and that's like just such a blast. You can go out there and fish a weed bed and then turn around and paddle 3 miles and be a couple hundred yards into a river system fishing for smallmouth like on cattails and stuff. It's just like, man, this is a an interesting place to say the least. I have fished a certain spot and have not caught anything, but I know there's fish back there because I know you've caught fish back there and I know other people have caught fish back there. And when I went, the water was super high and I was like, there's no fish back here. And everybody's like, there's definitely fish back there. And I'm like, no, there's not. And then a couple days later, when the water lowers, everybody's over there catching fish. And it's like, dude, it's just insane. Just going back to the rain thing, like last year they got a bunch of rain too. And it just slammed all the fisheries out there the first time I was out there. Like the river was super high, the lakes were super high, and then I go back out there in August and the water was like super super low. Like we could walk across the river, like it couldn't even launch your paddleboard. Like you had to walk across because it was so shallow. It's just insane. I feel like the Minnesota fisheries change a lot more from month to month than like what I'm used to here in my area, Michigan. But I also don't rely on like the rainwater to keep my rivers high or anything like that because I'm not really fishing too many rivers over here. So it kind of makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. You also you got a weird time when you came over here last, like throwback tournament, I
Yeah.
guess. That's the highest I've ever seen the river
Dude,
in my life. It
it
was
was,
so high.
and we fished it. We got on the paddle boards and we went across, and Brian Marshall and I caught fish, and it was just absolutely insane. I think Marshall and I talked about it the last time he was on, but yeah, water like up to your shoulders, dude. That was my first experience in the Mississippi, and Marshall's like, dude, I swear it's never this high. I'm like, oh, BS, dude. And then yeah, I come back. So that was in the middle of June. I come back in August, end of August, and that water's like where we were walking up to our shoulders. It's like maybe just under your knee deep, and I was like, wow, that water was like 6 foot high. Like that is absolutely insane. Couldn't even fathom that that's like what that place looked like when the water was that low. I didn't even know there was an island out there that you could get out to these bridge pilings because the water was so high at that point in time.
Yeah, like Brian caught that fish at a place that's
Oh,
been dry ever
yeah.
since.
We walked past it and I was like, "Oh, this is where it was." And Marshall's like, "No, dude, it's like over here." And there's like ferns growing up there, like 2 foot tall ferns and stuff. And Marshall's like, "Yeah, like that fish should not have been in here. Like that thing's never covered underwater." He's like, "That's the only time I've ever seen it." And I was like, "Wow, that is insane. That just blows my mind even more." I was like, that's crazy. Like we were walking in like I mean, the water was pretty low just now when we were over there. So like we were walking on shells and stuff. And I was telling Noel, I was like, dude, like last time or the second to last time I was here, like this was probably like 5.5 foot of water. And he's like, that's insane. I'm like, yeah, it is. Now it's like crazy low right now. It's crazy how much that river fluctuates in just a short amount of time. Like in a matter of a month and a half, it can drop, 6 feet like that. It's insane.
Yeah.
And then like the fish
I kind of wish I would
fall off too. Like the
I
fish,
kind of wish I would
what were you saying?
I kind of wish I would have gone up there when it was that high,
Yeah.
because like there are some places that would have been really, really good.
Mm. Yeah, I believe it.
Just when the water gets so high like that.
Yeah, I was worried about floating away, like bouncing like a bobber downstream and then just like because dude, when it's that high and you have to walk back, it's like we got down past the island and I'm like, dude, like I am scared. Like we have to fight this current back. Like this is not gonna be good. And
Yeah.
got back fine, but it was just like wow, like if you guys have ever walked a river and the water's kind of ripping and you can feel it pushing up, like pulling you backwards, and like this was like the type of rapids or like type of current, like you pick your foot up and you dig your back foot down, or if not you're gonna go ass over kettle and you're gonna be bouncing around underwater. Like it was legit, like kind of freaky to say the least.
Yeah, it's a little dangerous.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's definitely, you have to be very careful.
Yeah. Yeah, it
It's definitely worth.
yeah, but it can be worth it. That's the thing, like maybe not worth losing your life, but it can be worth, walking in like chest deep water when it's normal pool, like to get across to fish somewhere else. Like, dude, if you can't cast over there, but you can make it, it's like, man, like I bet you nobody else has casted a glide bait over there in the past 3 weeks. Like it could very much well be worth it. And then, it could pay off or it can't, but as long as you make it back, I guess it doesn't matter too much with minimal gear broken or anything like that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the throwback tournament last year. So it was on the same lake as it was this year, and you and Connor had never fished that lake last year, right? Like the tournament day, June 14th was your first day fishing it last year, right? First day ever fishing it, right?
Uh, y- Technically, yes. That's the
Technically.
first time. Technically, yes. You may not want to put this part in the video. That was my first time fishing the lake.
Okay. Okay. So fishing fishing that lake, I couldn't tell. I've never been on the lake. I've only just like been at the boat ramp, obviously. But it seems like a decently sized lake, like decently okay, like everybody could fit out there and
Yeah.
fish whatever. What was your guys's what was your guys's like plan of attack last year to fish out there? Like did you guys just focus on docks? So last year it set up. If you guys couldn't tell, it rained the whole time we were there, the whole time of the event. So like the water was super high, and I don't think anybody really knew what the fish were doing. So like, what were you guys banking on the fish doing, and how did you guys catch your fish?
Because we had never fished that lake before, we had no idea what to expect. So we
Right.
saw the water clear, like, oh, this is normal. Like this is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Okay, like let's just go fish. So we caught our fish the same way both years, same exact pattern, same spots, like same everything.
Mm.
Kraft was throwing a new profile. Last year he threw the 5-inch gill. This year he had made like a 6-inch shad, so very slent, like small baits. Even in that dirty water, like those fish picked up on it right away. He caught fish on it this year and last year. So we were kind of focusing on like offshore saddles,
Mm.
in and around the islands. So that's kind of where we caught all of our fish. He caught all of his fish on the glide. I caught all of my fish on last year was the TK, burning it over rocks, killing it, and just getting bit doing that. And
Mm.
then he was throwing the glide. This year, I didn't throw the TK at all. And let's see, I threw the white bug rock like all day,
Mm.
just in and around grass, ripping it out of grass. And I caught all largemouth doing that. Kraft caught a mixed bag of smallmouth and other stuff, largies. We caught one really nice pike. But yeah, just kind of the saddles in 5 foot, 10 foot of water, grass, rock.
Dang. What made you fish the bug rock and fish it like through the grass rather than the TK on the rocks this year? Was it just like where you guys were fishing and that's what you were kind of just tying on to fish in those areas or
Um, yeah, I didn't. I like I. So when I the night before I was ringing up rods, and I just figured the water was going to be dirty like that again. Like
Mm.
I didn't know it was going to be crystal clear.
Yeah.
So I tied it on knowing it was. I had never fished it before the day of the tournament. I
Yeah.
had never fished the bait before. And so yeah, I tied it on my rod. I was like, this thing is really loud. It's the perfect like depth range of what we're fishing. It's white. Like it
Yeah.
I should be able to catch decent fish on it. And so I tied it on, and then we got there and the water was clear. And I was like, oh. Um I was like, okay. So I still kept fishing it. And I fished it the same way as the TK, same areas, and started getting bites on it. And I was like, okay, like let's just keep fishing this.
Yeah.
And
Did
I
you
never.
Did you catch any keepers on it or like any fish you had kept for the bag?
Oh yeah. Both of both of the largemouth that were in our bag came off the bug rock. The smallmouth craft caught on the glide.
Okay. Okay, dang. What did you guys finish with weight wise?
1137, I think.
Dang. So, right around three and three quarter each fish, which is not anything to scoff at all, especially a lake that you guys have only fished, a couple of times, essentially pretty much majority of those times in tournament fishing. Like that's pretty dang good. And it seems like everybody was like right around that 9 to 12-ish pounds. Like that just is kind of what was big bass? I think Ange caught it and it was like 4 4, something like that, maybe a little bigger.
I I thought it was like 475, maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I was thinking of the
Um,
big fish from last
I
year.
think it was around there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Kraft, the smallie that Connor caught was 4.5.
Damn.
So yeah, super nice fish. Um, super cool eat too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I was kind of shocked because last year the winning number was 9. Like that was kind of the number to beat. Like if you got above 9,
Yeah.
you were gonna sit pretty good. So when Kraft and I were rolling into weigh-in with 11, I was like, oh, like this could be pretty good. And then Brian weighed in right before us, and he had I think 12, like on
Well,
the dot.
yeah, yeah, really
I
close
was
to
like,
that.
dang, that's a really nice bag.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Like,
So
I mean, I called Noel and Anthony at like probably like 10 or 11-ish. I think I was just getting into Illinois or maybe like just really close to the end of Wisconsin because I was on the way home and I was talking to them and they're like, yeah, we got like 9.5 pounds. We're really confident. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. Like I only knew the lake from the tournament last year. I'm like, that's like really what people were bringing in last year to win. So I assumed they were going to do pretty good. And then yeah, I called Brian and Brian was like, Brian, I think, and them only had two fish at the time. And he's like, oh, yeah, but they're decent fish, whatever, whatever. And I'm like, okay. And so, yeah, when I saw Brian and them one with like, 12 or a little over whatever else it was, I was like, wow, that's, 3 4 pounders out of there. From what I know, that's like pretty dang good. Like that's three really, really quality fish. I don't think, has anybody broken or has anybody brought in a 5 in the last 2 years? I don't think anybody has, have they?
I got really close.
Really close.
I think the first year of the tournament, I caught big bass at 498, I
Mm,
think.
okay.
So it was like right there.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's like close. Like couple drops of water and it's gullet and that would have been a 5. Like it's just all it comes down to.
Yeah.
Or you catch it an hour later into the day and that fish retains a little bit more weight because it's not as stressed out. Like it's just however it happens, it happens. What being that lake kind of how it is and like I mean there was 25 boats out there this year. Was there 20? Yeah, 25 boats out there this year. Was like did you get was there people like did anybody try to like slide in on you guys or like was did you see people like kind of grouping up on points or anything like that or was it pretty much all spread out from what you guys or what you had seen I should say?
Yeah, we saw people fishing points, but nothing that we were fishing. Actually, I do give Brian a huge props. He fished, I think, the same spot all day
Wow.
and just grinded them out.
Yeah.
Like,
And just waited for fish
and
to
we were
fish in.
fishing, yeah, similar area to him. We would like leave and come back throughout the day, and he was just there the whole time.
Dang.
So that was like Brian, and then the guy that got fourth, I forget his name. He was kind of in the area, but only for like a little bit.
Right.
He'd like come in, drop his deucer, start scoping around a little bit,
Hmm.
like wouldn't see much, and then leave.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, that's interesting. Did you guys like was your fallback plan to like fish docks or anything, or was it just pretty much all these deep saddles, weed beds, out essentially offshore?
We we had like one bay with some good docks in it, but not much. Like we couldn't even when we were fishing docks, I saw weeds out to the left growing up, and I threw the bug rock out there like probably 20 yards parallel away from the dock,
Hmm.
and I caught fish out there. So
Mm,
I don't think I caught a fish on a dock.
wow.
Um, which is which is odd because I don't fish deep unless I'm with Connor.
Yeah.
Like I do it now more because I know how well it works. But like by myself, I'm usually in some backwater trying to
Mm,
make it happen.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's what
but
I was gonna say. If I was to fish that, I'd have been essentially, if I was captain of the boat, or if the boater wanted to listen to what I was gonna say, I would just probably fish docks, skip docks with a 6-inch mag draft or a 6 or 7 inch citizen pretty much all day, because that's what catches fish. Like if I'm in a tournament, I want to catch my 3 fish as fast as I can, and then worry about maybe pushing offshore to catch my 3 more big ones or 3 coal fish. So that's interesting. I'd be intrigued to see if anybody else was fishing docks and did okay. That first year, did you guys like look at the topo map and like pick out some spots you wanted to fish, or like look at a graph and kind of find weed beds that you guys were interested in, or did it just so happen that these saddles had weed beds on and around them, and that's where you guys picked off your fish at?
yeah, there's an old screenshot of somewhere on my phone, but it's just Google Maps pins of all around those spots, just like any type of like I guess transitioned where it would go up even just the slightest little bit, um drop off stuff like that around those areas, and that was the plan pretty much at the start. We were like, okay, we're just gonna go here and then work our way up, and that was we got it done. And so yeah, it was kind of yeah, there was definitely some planning into where we were gonna fish. I don't think either of us expected it to go as well the first year as it did.
Right.
Definitely not, but it ended up working out. So
Yeah, because you guys got second the first year
yeah,
and then third this year.
yeah,
Dude, that's you guys are holding a pretty dang good average. Like you're consistent to say the least.
so, yeah. Definitely, the consistency is there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So when does Connor have any graphs on the boat? Or he doesn't have forward facing sonar, does he?
No, we just have like a Helix 6 or 7.
Okay, yeah, that's what I kind of was guessing or figuring. So like you guys could kind of side scan and know that there's weed patches on both sides, or this is the edge, and then just kind of go from there.
Yeah, I mean, both of us aren't very good with a side scan at all. Like we're
Right.
not super graph. Like we won't sit and idle around and look at
Right.
like look for fish. I couldn't even tell you what a fish looks like on side scan,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So we mainly use it for like depth, water temp, and like mapping. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'll see videos of guys like I think I think side scan, and people are probably gonna come at me for saying this because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about either, but I feel like side scan is more useful on flats with rocks or rock piles or like smaller patches of grass, not like thick cabbage patch, because I'm pretty sure what you see on
Yeah.
side scan is like the shadow. Like I've seen pictures or like guys like break down side scan images of where the fish are off rock piles and stuff, and it always seems like it's a blip with like a black spot underneath it. So I'm assuming like I said again, I don't know if you guys know. Shoot me a DM and let me know, but I'm pretty sure, dude. I don't know. I really like I'm with you guys. I'm graph illiterate. I like the if I know the water temp and the depth, I can kind of stem everything else from there, especially if I can see bottom. Like if I'm around here and I can see 12 foot down, okay, I can figure this out. Like it's not rocket science, but like fishing with like it, I feel like if somebody had sonar or forward facing out there, they'd probably be chasing a lot of fish. And I think I feel like that would hurt you up north, especially if you can't really depict sizing or you don't know the size of a fish in a lake and you're chasing around a school of 3 pounders when there's 5 pounders, elsewhere. And you're just trying to catch, like, I feel like that could burn a lot of time because when I use forward facing sonar, that's what I do. I like try to find fish and it's a waste of time. I feel like I can cover more water if I'm actually like actively power fishing. I don't know. Have you had an experience with forward facing sonar?
I have a friend, Will. You've probably seen him and I post about crazy river days.
Oh, okay.
Um, but he's really good with forward facing sonar. I will say that he definitely knows how to catch him with it. I've used it with him on like tough days
Mhm.
with a spinning rod in my hand, like staring at a screen.
Yeah.
There's some really funny photos of me like hunched over staring at the forward, just trying to catch a bass
Yeah.
for the day. But I've used it a couple times. I'm not very good with it. I don't love it. It's
Yeah.
not it's not how I like to fish.
Right, right. I am
But
not good with it either because I'm not used to working a trolling motor, let alone working a trolling motor to keep myself straight while also trying to see my bait in the fish in the graph screen. Like the guys who are like I give it crap all the time like on the memes and stuff, but the guys who are good at it, like props to you guys who can rip around a lake, stop and just pinpoint on a fish for 20 minutes and catch that thing. Like that is obviously a skill to have. Just because you can see the fish does not mean you're gonna be able to position the boat, play the wind, whatever else it may be. I also realized this week actually because we were using it to catch those pike. I realized how far I cast. I don't know if that was something for you as well, but like
yes,
my buddy would be like, okay, right here, the head of the trolling motor, 30 feet out. And I'd cast and he'd be like, dude, that's like 63 feet. What are you doing? And he's like, look at the boat. He's like, the boat is 18 feet. Use this as a judge on like where you cast. And I'm like, there was no like it was just like a flick cast. And he's like, that is way further than you need to be. Like you need to bring it back, 40 reel turns. And it's like, wow, you don't realize how far you can cast a swim bait until you pick up like a spinning rod and the cast only goes 40 feet and you can just bomb a swim bait, 90 to 120 feet. It doesn't even show up on the graph. It's like, wow, he was making fun of me for it all day Saturday. And I was just like, this is insane. I don't know, like this could make people some really good at casting like to targets with that.
yeah, it's genuinely like difficult to do it. To
Yeah.
like get your boat right, get the bait right, catch the fish, have the trolling motor perfect, see your bait.
Hmm.
That's a hard thing,
Yeah.
especially when they're super tiny, like
Hmm.
super difficult.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. So you kind of being in Wisconsin, you guys probably have some clear water. Do you get to see a lot of your fish eat the glide bait or like any swim baits in general when you're out?
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Even in like muddy water, these fish will eat it off. Like even with a glide, like bright white glide, you'll see the fish eat.
Yeah.
It's that is one thing about our fish is they're just so aggressive no matter what most of the time
Yeah.
that you'll get to see a like 50% of your bites you'll get to see at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah. So I'm pretty decent at like watching fish eat, like waiting to set the hook, unless it's a both and I get super excited. But like I'm good at that. Dude, watching the graph and like watching it while I'm reeling and like side eyeing the graph and like watching that blip just like close in and you're trying not to speed the glide up anymore or whatever your bait. You're just trying to keep at that same pace. And then just like I don't know if you ice fish or if anybody who listens ice fishes, it's like when you're jigging and you just see that like you see that mark on your Markham or Vexlar come up and just sit on your jig and you're just waiting for that bite like so intensively. It's the same thing with the sonar. Like and you just like I have a clip of me when we were pike fishing, like I'm reeling and he's like, "Oh, dude, it's right there." And I look over and this thing is like just lack of a better word all over my bait. And I'm just like, I literally said in the video, I can't watch that or I'm gonna set the hook right now. And I stop and I feel it bite and it's like I was not sold that it was actually there. So I kept reeling for a second and I reeled down to it and then I set the hook and I was just like, there's a couple videos where I'm casting and like off the deck and whoever boat it is telling me that there's fish on my bait and I have to like just turn away from the graph because I cannot watch it or I'm gonna get way too excited.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand the ice fishing thing because like that is something we do a lot in the
Yeah.
winter is
Yeah.
ice fish. You kind of have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. To keep sanity, you kind of have to. Dude, did you guys mess around with any other baits throughout the tournament, or was it primarily just the craft shine or craft gizzard that he was fishing, and then your bug rock, or did you like have a 6-inch citizen tied on, or like a metro or anything, or was it just pretty much those two rods in your hands all day?
I caught uh I caught one like 3.5 pound smallmouth on the WRK, and then I caught a pike on the K9, but that was it.
Yeah, dude. You said it was a pretty decent pike?
Yeah, it was probably 35-ish.
Wow. You think it was a bass at first, or did you watch it and know it was a pike?
No, I watched him blow the clash out of the water. So it like 20 feet from the boat.
Mm. Ah, dude, that's brutal. Did you guys or like have you guys thought about trying any like walking baits or anything above those weed patches during the tournament? Or is it just like I assume when you guys are catching them on those baits that you started out the day with, like it's hard to set those baits down to try to it's kind of like you don't leave fish to go find fish. Like you don't set the bait down that you're catching fish with to try a new bait. Like did it cross your mind to try any other baits, or was it just like I'm keeping this bug rock and K9 occasionally in my hand majority of the day?
Um, no, I didn't really think about switching at all.
Right.
I was like, this is working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice if like obviously it's a two-person tournament. It's kind of nice that one guy is content with fishing a glide and the other guy is content with fishing something else. Like yeah, it would be okay to fish two glide baits, but you guys are targeting like essentially two different styles of fish. You're going like for a reaction strike of like a fish just, jutting out of the weeds to come get it, and Connor's fishing for a fish that may, see that bait and follow it for a while and then finally decide to eat it. Like, maybe that fish doesn't want to eat a crankdown. So if you guys are both fishing crankdowns, you're missing out on bites or vice versa. So I think it's good when guys are like maybe you wanted to fish, like maybe you were sleeping Friday night and you're just like, oh man, I cannot wait to fish the tiny clash tomorrow. And then like, I just better fish the bug rock. Like you're a team player when you do stuff like that. And that obviously it helps because you said you caught two of your guys' keepers like that. So, if you caught two fish on the bug rock and Connor's like, I'm going to decide to fish a crank down, like you guys might not have caught that third fish that you guys had that smallmouth. So just kind of perspective on how I look at it. Like if I'm fishing with somebody, if they're fishing a glide bait, I really want to fish a glide bait, but I'll fish like a 6-inch soft bait or something else just because we don't need to catch two fish at a time, I guess.
Yeah. I and it's not like I had to like we were catching fish like too. Like it's not like we only got 3 bites that
Right.
day. I think we caught like 11 or
Mm,
13 fish that day, and like none of them were under 2.5 pounds.
mm,
So it was like I even on like a non-tournament day, if I found this pattern, I probably would have fished it all day.
hmm Right.
Just because like it's it's fun. Like
Yeah.
I'm not out there grinding all day to catch like one fish on a 250, which
hmm
I love doing. Like that's still really fun.
hmm
But we were just having fun, like cracking jokes, casting over
Yeah.
each other's lines, like snagging each other. It wasn't like super serious. It was like we were out there legitimately on like a Saturday enjoying fishing.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think that was also really fun.
Yeah, you guys weren't like freaking out like if you would have lost a fish or anything like that. Just like having a decent time is really the way I would try to go about it too. Because once you start being serious, that's when you know you start taking stuff to heart. If you miss one with the net or miss one on a hook set, you freak out and blow up like, oh my gosh, dude, that was a $5,000 fish. I can't believe I just did that. And then you start fishing a lot worse that way. Question I have for you. What scale were you guys using? And what was the weight you thought you had? And then how close was it to what Doug's scale said to you guys at the end of the day?
Uh, we didn't really have like a weight on every fish,
Mm,
I guess. Like we had a small fish on the scale that like it just had to be over that number and then we
right.
could call it.
Yeah.
Like that smallie we caught within 30 minutes of fish, 15 minutes of fishing, I think.
Whoa, really? So you
We
guys
we had
had one in the box that you probably weren't going to be able to cull.
yeah, we had a limit within an hour of fishing.
Wow.
Like we had like a 9 pound limit within like an hour.
Mm. Then it
So
was
I
just
think that
scraping
also
together.
played a factor of like we're just gonna fish this all day.
Yeah, scraping together two more fish to call out. You catch a 4.5 pound smallmouth out of a lake like that, it's kind of like, okay, unless we catch a 5 pound largemouth, like this guy's going to be a box resident for the rest of the day until we let it go at the end of the day. Like, that, like you said, once you catch that fish and you hold it up, you're like, yeah, we're going to scale it so we have a number, but this thing's not going to come out of the box the rest of the day. Like, unless we get on some crazy fish, like this guy is going to be going in the bag for us for the weigh in. Like that's kind of nice, I think. That
Yeah,
saves. I mean, not that it saves you a crazy amount of time, but it saves you from having to check every fish. If you're bumping a bunch of, you know, 2.5 or 2 and 8 ounce fish to a 2 and 12 ounce fish, like that saves you a minute or two of culling 3 ounces. Like if you can make big jumps right away, I think that sets you up for a lot better of a day because you're not like really heem hawing about a fish that you're fighting. Like, oh man, if I lose this fish, like, are we screwed or is this thing gonna cull or sitting there and like
yeah,
going back and forth like, Connor, do you think this fish is bigger? Like the scale says it's an ounce bigger, but dude, I don't know. It's like 2 inches longer, and it's like it's a lot less of a mind game if you just catch a big one right off the bat. You only got to catch two more.
yeah. And we were it was funny enough, we were there uh at that lake like 2 weeks before and um Kraft caught his PB Smalley like
Mm.
that day, like 2 weeks before on a
Yeah,
very similar spot on like uh yeah, we were just like out fun fishing, like three of us in the boat, just hanging out.
dang.
And yeah, so that was like another thing of like, okay, like we can this if there's this fish here, it's not gonna go very far unless we get like a crazy warm up and it
Yeah,
just
buries itself in
bolts out.
grass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So
So
that also.
yeah. Did you guys feel a little bit more confident this year? Like just kind of fishing the lake maybe once or twice more and kind of like having essentially an idea of what 20 boats brought in last year. Like you guys kind of, like you said, that 9 pound range was kind of, what you were aiming for to know that it was like a pretty decent bag for out there. Like, was it a lot less, I don't know. Like, did you just kind of know what to expect a little bit more this year?
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, I knew kind of like in my head, I was like, okay, 10 pounds, you're top three
Yeah,
for sure.
right.
That was in my, I think I said it at like 1 o'clock.
Mm,
We we had our whatever we had like 11 something
hmm
at like 12:30.
mm,
And I was like, I kind of looked at Kraft and without like saying anything,
yeah,
I was like, like we could like win, right?
yeah, yeah.
And he was like, don't say that, don't say that. But so yeah,
Yeah, dude, that's the thing I hate about tournaments. Like dude, I've had some tournaments where for three fish we catch like right around 12 pounds or like 11.5 pounds, and you're going to the back of the ramp and it's like, dude, like I don't want to say anything, but I think like we may have won this, and especially if you're like middle of the pack once you get there and you're like middle of the end of getting scaled and you like bump up and you're 2 pounds ahead of second place. And it's like, oh, dude, like that's like when I would have to walk away because I did not want to know what happened next. Like I didn't want somebody to beat us by like 2 ounces or something crazy like that. And, a lot of times for for whatever reason it would happen like that, they'd come in with 6 pounds more than us, or something like that. And it's just like, damn, like I can't believe somebody else had a better day, if not, just as good as a day as us out here. Like that breaks my heart to see. And it really sucks if you like had an opportunity and you missed it, but it also really sucks if you didn't. Like if you capitalized on every opportunity you had and you just like straight up, not necessarily got out fish, but they just had a better spot, or obviously caught three bigger fish. It's just like, damn, like, oh man, I wish I'd have done something a little bit different. Then that, like, the regret thing eats me up alive after a tournament. Like, oh, I knew I should have skipped this brush line and gone and fished those docks instead of flipping this, grass flat or whatever. It's just like, oh, it's like the lottery, but you never win. No matter what you do, you never win. You never second place is never as good as winning the $1 million jackpot on the Powerball.
Yeah. And it at least with this tournament, like we didn't lose any fish,
Right.
nothing went wrong. Like the second year, we lost by like I think it was what 2 ounces or
Yeah,
something
it was not
crazy.
very much. Yeah.
I had that fish hooked.
Mm,
Like an hour before weigh-in, I had 4.5 plus on the line, and it just popped off.
yeah.
But it's just like nothing happened like that, and so that was really it was fun. Like I don't fish. I fish two tournaments every year, and they're
Right.
both swim bait tournaments.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to like maybe fish a conventional tournament, but like it's I don't know. The tournament scene is kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
Like it's like there's very at least what I've seen is like there's very few people fishing for fun.
Hmm.
Like I th- yeah, some guy on they had like the fork event and some guy was up shallow like frogging and he was like, yeah, they may be catching more fish and bigger fish than me, but I'm having fun.
Hmm.
And I was like, that's yeah, like that's what fishing is. It's just fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like tournament fishing for me. It's like, dude, my heart's just racing the whole time. It's like an adrenaline dump the whole time. And like the tournaments that I would fish were just 4 hour weeknighters. And I would get back to the truck after the tournament and I would be like physically exhausted because like I was just like so on edge, like making sure like burning in casts so I could make the next cast, and like just trying to be just so mentally on top of everything that it was just like an adrenaline dump at the end of the day. And you come up not even just a little short, like you come up in like sixth and just like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like, well, I just put my heart, put my like subconscious through all this stuff, and I just fell flat on my face. Like it's a very humbling thing to fish a tournament, especially on like a lake you think like a home lake, and you just get your ass kicked. It's just like, wow, I never want to do this again. I'm never donating money again. Like it's a real kick in the nuts to fish tournaments, I think. And guys maybe listening to this and they've maybe never finished less than fourth place in a club tournament, and they've made back their money every single time, and that's good for you guys. But one time you'll fish a tournament and you'll not do so good, and you'll be like, wow, this is what Adrian was talking about when he said that you can go from being the highest to highest to the lowest to lows in a matter of a week on a tournament trail, and it's just not fun. It's not fun for me. Maybe some guys might get a rise out of it, but if I had it my way, I'd rather be I'd rather be the camera guy on the Elite Series than the guy trying to fish the event, in my opinion. Yeah, that's just me though.
Yeah, that would be pretty fun. Being a camera guy in the Elite Series.
Yeah, it'd be a lot less timid than the guy trying to fish for a living.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, think of it like that. Like it would be hard to fish for a living, to provide for your family and have fun at the same time. If you have a good tournament, yeah, it's okay to have fun, but you go to that like Sabine River in Louisiana and you catch 6 pounds for five fish, dude, there's not much fun to be had during that tournament, I don't think.
Yeah.
And those guys are like fishing for a spot on the roster for the following year too. Like bottom X amount get cut and the next ones from the opens get raised up. Like, dude, you're not only fishing for like your living, you're fishing for to not have to go get a normal job the next year. Like, that's a lot of
Yeah.
freaking pressure if you think about it.
No, it definitely is. It definitely is. That's why, yeah.
It's just it's a different
Because I've
lifestyle, dude.
it's crazy. Like for as in the next coming years, I would like to start uh doing like guiding for people.
Mhm.
But like because I just think that would be like everybody's like it's either you love it or you hate it. I
Yeah.
feel like this kind of the thing I get from people.
Hmm.
But I would like to, but that's another thing is like if you don't put these people on fish, it's like they're paying you to
Yeah.
take them fishing expecting to catch fish.
Yeah. Yeah, that mind or that thought crossed my mind a couple of years ago, like buying just a little, 18-foot tracker, 18-foot skeeter, and just fishing all these lakes around here that I know really well. And yeah, there's days where I'll catch, 8 or 9 fish on a glide bait, like a 8-inch glide bait. And dude, there's like a couple week period where I don't catch anything, or I only catch one or two, and it's like in good conscience, I cannot offer a service that I can't fully like deliver on, and like I think people understand, especially in the sense of like 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 trout fishing. Like you can't expect to go out and always catch trout. Like trout are super temperamental, but like people have in their mind that these bass are trash fish and they should be able to go out and catch 40 of them because that's what they used to do with their uncle when they were catfishing. And it's just like, man, we're gonna do this with like an 8-inch glide bait. Like we're not. There's a good chance we don't catch any fish, and then it just kind of. I'm the type of person, if I don't deliver on a promise, it just like eats me up alive, and then that quickly reminded me on why I could probably never be a guide, because I in good faith I could not offer a service and not 100% know that I can deliver on the promise.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just dude, it takes a special person to be a tournament guide and a tournament guy, and it takes a special person to be a charter guide too, or a captain, whatever you want to say. Like, yeah, it'd be fun, but man, people are relying on you to put them on some fish, and honestly, unfortunately, it just doesn't always happen.
Yeah, that's like it also takes like up here fishing the river in like the dead of winter.
Mm.
My favorite thing to do, like I'm sitting here and it's 80 degrees outside
Mhm.
and sunny, and I'm like, there are some days where I'm like, I would much rather be my snow pants underneath my bibs or my waders, just
Yeah.
like in the river, cold,
Mhm.
questioning if I'm gonna break off because my line is frozen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd much rather be doing it. But
Mhm. Right. And I think if you can deliver that on like a guided trip, like that experience is cool. But if you're going out on a boat that any Joe Blow could go do, that's when it's kind of like, oh man, these guys aren't maybe necessarily paying for the experience. They're or like the experience of like the trip. They're paying for the experience of the fishing. And so if like, dude, have you ever heard how much those guides cost like down on OHIV and stuff that like teach you how to run the grass and stuff? I've like heard
I
that
think
it's very expensive.
there's Josh is the really big one, and then there's
Yeah.
that other kid.
That Kyle,
Like
I don't know his
yeah,
last name,
Kyle,
but yeah.
last name. But I think his like day rate is like over 2,000 or something crazy. It's like
Yeah.
a yeah,
And like
just for like 9 hours of fishing.
yeah, and I would assume guys are paying that to learn how to read the graphs and like set their graphs up and obviously get get the opportunity to big fish like that. But for a guy like you and I who would, I mean, not to speak for you, but like essentially just like show people the glide baits and show people like what they do and stuff, you know, I don't know what guys charge, maybe like $400 a day or $300 a day, whatever it is. But for that much, it's kind of like, well, this is all I'm showing you. So I hope we can catch some fish, because if not, you're just going to think I'm crazy that I'm telling you about these baits that I spent how much money on, and now you're not catching any fish with them.
I would also like to do it as more of like, yes, there's a chance that we would catch fish, and I would hope we would.
Hmm.
But it's more of like we'd float a river, I'd make you lunch on the shore.
Yeah.
Like it'd be a full day thing. I'd teach you like how to fish the river, how to throw glides in current, because that throws a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
Like read the river, like kind of
And
break it all down.
yeah.
Yeah, I think there's value behind that. Like that's an actual service that, whether they catch fish or not, like they're taking an experience or not an experience. They're taking knowledge and information away that they can go if they live in Ohio on the Sandusky River, they can go and they can fish glide baits in that. It's not a one for one as the Mississippi, but they've got current breaks, they've got rock shoals, they've got everything else, waterfalls, that sort of thing. Like they can learn they can take what they learned with you and go down there and do that. But if it's like something that I was thinking of on a lake, here, take this bait and go fish it, and you can replicate it at your house, but hopefully you catch fish down there. Like it's interesting to think
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, especially if we're fishing like a lake that has a very uh like smaller pattern or like a very niche pattern, I
Yeah.
guess, to say that like a special type of structure or like something like that. It'd be very hard to do that at your house, like your
Yeah.
home lake.
Yeah. Like if I was to bring you up here and we're fishing, shipwrecks on this lake, and you're like, dude, my lake gets 12 foot deep and it's like 2 inches of visibility. I can't go out there and fish shipwrecks because there's not any. Like what am I
Yeah.
what am I learning from you? I'm more coming up here to watch my fish eat my bait and see how these fish react and that sort of thing. And so, oh man, I don't know. It's still something that I keep in the back of my head. Like, yeah, it'd be cool to do like a couple times throughout the year in the spring, like pre-spawn, because fish are kind of silly around then, and like in the fall when they're loading up. But outside of that, it's like, man, I don't know if I could pull myself to do it. I know I couldn't pull myself to do it. I feel bad when somebody orders something and I can't ship it to them that day, let alone paying me $300 for a trip and they don't catch anything, or let alone even see a fish. It's just like, it takes a special person, just again to reiterate that, it takes a special person to do something like that and to feel confident while doing it too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing is like you're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna catch fish, not
Yeah.
like we might.
Yep. Yeah, it's just it's interesting, man. Interesting to say the very least. Trying to think here. Uh, so I guess you're gonna probably start fishing the river here pretty soon, if I had to guess. Or are you gonna
Hopefully
wait a
this
little
weekend. I would
longer?
like to
Oh,
get out
oh,
this weekend.
okay. Are you gonna be fishing that bug rock, or like what's are you trying any new baits out there this year?
Um, I guess my quest for the six continues because I know it's possible.
Hmm.
Uh, but that's definitely a special fish that takes a lot of work and timing and just everything has to go perfectly
Right.
for you to catch that. I would really like to catch one on the 250.
Mm.
I have yet to do that.
Wow.
Um, that would just be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you checked out that Kyle Regal's page? The guy from Pennsylvania. I had him on the podcast, like episode 170, somewhere in there.
I think
Catches
so.
catches him on
Yeah.
the catches him in the river on the Ghost on the 250. Dude,
Yeah.
that's
He
crazy.
actually gave me a really good idea. I watched one of his cast that catches the other day and he hooked a fish and kicked an anchor in the water.
Mm,
And I was like, that's genius.
yeah.
Because now this past summer I bought or this like past couple months I bought a new boat
Mm,
and it's one that I can actually like take out on the river.
yeah.
Um so I can fish new water that you can't wade to.
Right.
So that's really cool. But like that was like, oh, then I'm not 6 miles down the river when I take my photo with this
Right.
bass.
Yeah, yeah. And have to motor back up and prop wash all this stuff on the way back up. Like that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Poor man's spot locker, poor man's anchors or talons, whatever you want to call them, power poles.
Yeah. Yeah.
What setups are
I
you
can
fishing?
appreciate that. Um, I fish. So I used to fish Leviathan. I still love the rods, but I met Nolan of McGee Customs last year at the throwback tournament. I at the time I was looking for like a short TK rod,
Mhm.
and he was like, "Yo, I got this blank. We can cut it down to whatever. It's super parabolic. It's like 1 to 4 ounces." I was like, "That's perfect." So I got in contact with him. Uh, he built me the rod, and I was like, "Okay, do you need me like pick it up somewhere?" And he was like, "Yeah, you can just like drive to my house." And I like put in the address. I'm like, "You live 15 minutes from my house."
Oh, really?
And yeah, so he lives like the next town over, fishes pretty much the same lakes and rivers around here that I do.
Mm.
And so I have now switched over completely to his rods. Yeah, and I love them. I have 4 of them now.
Mm.
2 are the same blank, and
Yeah.
then I have a 2 to 10, a 1 to 6, and 2 1 to 4s.
Okay.
Um, which
What
are
what reels were
so
you using?
on the 2 to 10, I throw the Tatula 300, and then on like the main rod, which is a 7.4 1 to 5 ounce rod, which will be like it's it's coming in the near future, but like a signature rod.
Mm.
Um, so that'll be like a river based rod,
Yeah.
but it's a 7.4 1 to 5, and I have that with a Tatula 200, but I have the 300 handle on it.
Mm.
It's because they're interchangeable. And
Yeah.
so that's been like locked in my hand. I caught most of my bug rock fish on that from the tournament. Caught a ton of canine fish on it,
Mm.
popper fish. So yeah, it's a really good river rod. That's been what's in my hand most of the time.
Mm. Right. Yeah. What are you fishing like 17 pound in the river? 15? Like what's the go-to river line?
I fish 25,
Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay.
but
Not expecting you to
I
say that.
fish 20, I have 25, and then pretty much on all my big baits, I have like crimped 40-pound leaders.
Okay.
So I fish heavy line, pike, or everywhere up here, the leaders. I don't want to be losing baits every day. But they still eat it. My buddy Will, who I fish with a ton too on the river, he showed me the idea. He has crimped leaders on all of his Clash 9s. And
Mm.
I watched him fish it, and I was like, whoa, like, how do you work your bait that good? And I picked up his rod, fished it the same way that I was fishing it. And I was like, it has to be the leader. And so what I have found is with that like crimped leader, you could also probably replicate it with like a small suspend strip on the front and the loop knot, like a loop knot of some kind.
Yeah.
But it just gives that bait just a big swing point, and to me, it fishes better. Like it wide glides better. It chops really good. So that's kind of something that I have found with the K9 specifically.
Hmm. Interesting. I've been thinking about switching over to the loop knot too, just based off of what I see it do for like those straight tail minnows. I have thought about switching over so I don't have to run like split ring on the front of the bait and kind of messing with the weight a little bit. I've thought about messing with the loop knot just because it adds a lot more action to anything you're doing. That bait can swing, like you said, it's got a really big swing point on it, whereas like that split ring or even just a direct tie, it's you don't have any play with it past that.
Yeah. I've messed around a ton with with Connor's baits being wood. They all swim different. And so the like tying different knots, putting split ring, straight tie,
Yeah.
like that's you get to mess with that a lot and see what it does to bait. And so that's kind of been a big thing for me,
Right. Yeah. Huh. That's interesting.
especially in current.
Right. Right. Hmm. Are you running like say you have a pike and it bends out your hooks? What treble hooks are you replacing like on your K9? If you guys
I
if
run
you guys aren't watching on YouTube, he's digging through his box right now. Okay. Are these quads? Are these gonna
I
be
run the
quads?
Iwakacha Karamari size 2 trebles. on my Clash 9s. And then on my like TKs and all my smaller stuff, I run the size 4s.
Okay. Hmm.
I hopefully I don't mess this up, but I haven't had a smallmouth bend out one of those hooks yet.
Okay.
I used to fish 36s, the ST 36s,
Mhm.
and those would just bend out so fast.
Right.
And so these ones I haven't had any problems with yet, but hopefully that yeah, they're pretty good. They this is kind of hard with any hook, but like if your front hook will always get dull with rocks, like you
Yeah.
bang it into it, it's just gonna dull out. But they do even with like dull hooks. I've hooked fish, had them jump, foot in the air, and they've been so far so good.
Hmm. Interesting. Are they like light wire? Are they a little bit just like a standard hook? Or are they like extra stout?
They're they're pretty stiff.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
I don't know.
I
I fish really heavy stuff.
right.
Um,
Um, I, I literally don't have a tackle store around me, so I was in Cabela's a couple months ago, and I just bought Gamakatsu round bend size ones. Dude, those things are stout. They are short, stout, and they're pretty sticky. So that's just what I get because I hate ordering stuff offline when I need it right now. But that's interesting. I've never seen those hooks before. I'm gonna have to check those out, I think. Give them a try.
yeah, they're I get them from Thorn Bros, which is close to
Okay.
us.
Yeah.
It's a big, like a muskie store, but they
Yeah. Yeah.
sell bass stuff, a lot of mega bass stuff. They also have them at like Waypoint.
Waypoint.
I'm super lucky to have like a store like Waypoint or like Thorn Bros, and they carries
Yeah.
like G Crack and Japanese stuff.
That's
So
actually like super, super convenient. That's pretty sick. I am jealous about that to say the least.
yeah, they also carry a pretty cool product. They're like split rings, but they have 3 strands, so like triple rings,
Yeah.
but
Huh.
which are mainly for muskie. But I haven't had any problems with them.
So yeah, instead of coiled just twice, it's actually coiled a third time. So
Yeah,
it was like super. That is interesting. I've never seen those before. Huh.
yeah. I think it's a Thorn Bros like product.
Oh, okay, okay. That
I
actually would
think they
probably help weighing your bait down too without adding suspending strips, like doubling those up. I bet you it adds like an extra gram or two of weight pretty quickly.
yeah. I all of my stuff is very like just solely functional.
Hmm.
So I run like double split rings,
Hmm.
like one of those triple rings to a regular split ring, and just like as in anything that I can get to not have a smallmouth throw a big bait, I will do it.
Right. Huh. Well, dude,
So
I don't blame you, especially on the quest for a six. I don't blame you for taking those precautions because as soon as you don't, that's when you come become complacent, that's when something's going to happen that is not going to be so great to just keep it frank with you.
yeah.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, man, let's wrap this thing up, put a bow on it. I'm pretty sure you have to work tomorrow, so don't want to keep you out
Yeah.
too late, dude. What where I know we said it way earlier in the episode, but what is the Instagram for people who want to follow you if they're not already?
Yeah, it'll just be all lowercase MW_swim baits.
Perfect, man. No YouTube, right?
Not at the moment.
Okay, not at the moment. That is foreshadowing that there's going to be a YouTube when he catches a 6 pounder. There will be a YouTube video on it, hopefully.
I hope so.
Heck yeah, man. Well, Isaac, thank you for coming on, man. As always, guys, I'll have Isaac's Instagram in the show notes. You guys can go follow him on there. While you're following him, make sure you're following the podcast, Scales and Tails _media on the gram, MW_swimbait on Instagram for Isaac as well. As always, guys, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you guys on the next one next Monday. See you guys.